Hey guys, what is going on? Welcome back to another video. My name is Alex and welcome to the Profits Managed channel. So in today's video, I'm going to give you guys the weekly breakdown for what I see happening on cryptocurrencies. And with that being said, make sure to leave a like, subscribe if you haven't already, and leave a comment down below. Let me know your thoughts, if you're bullish or bearish, or any questions that you have. And so I actually want to pick up from last week's video because I just want to backtrack, right, and show you guys what I literally stated that I felt like was going to happen, and then we're going to be looking at what has happened. And yeah, so this is the last week video, which I don't know if you guys will be able to hear the audio, but in order for me to not have to record it once again, I left the subtitles just in case you guys are not able to hear. And if you've seen last week's video, I told you that I wanted to see a reversal back down that will have taken out this trend line for the third time, and from there onwards I was expecting to see a reversal back up, which is exactly what ended up unfolding. We topped on Tuesday, we reversed back down on Thursday, we hit the trend line for the third time, hit this level that I wanted to see act as a support, and now we're boosting higher. Now, what I can tell you here is that the total tree, in my personal opinion, still has a little bit more room to go. I think that it can go potentially close to around 3.5 trillion, potentially we'll take out this high by doing so. And then we could potentially start to see a significant retrace from there as well. Okay, I'll also show you guys some different charts that I have for the same charts, but on different layouts, because there is some other ways that this can potentially unfold here. And you can see that we are currently wiped this high here. Overall, based on this analysis that I've done on this chart here, at the very least you should be taking profits if you have taken longs down here. Okay, at least you should be taking profits and protecting your position, because there has been a wipe of the high. Overall trend, you could even say that this is a market structure shift that is potentially taking place in an overall bullish uptrend. But this could potentially lead to a little bit more downside at some point. Okay, so we've just hit the equilibrium point for this particular range, and let me actually double check if we have done that, and no, we haven't. So we could expect a little bit more upside, but the point remains the same. Once we strike this equilibrium point, at the very least you should be taking out a little bit of profit off, protect your positions, because regardless of whether we go up for this full move and take out this high as well, which could very much be a possibility here, I think that we may soon be experiencing at least somewhat of a retrace back down into this region, potentially around 286 or so, maybe even somewhere around 2.92 would be my best guess, somewhere around this region here. So I'm gonna stop it right here. If you guys want to watch this video again, you can by simply going to the channel and checking the previous video. But the point here that what I wanted to show you is that I was calling for a level of resistance to pretty much come in around these levels, where is pretty much where we currently have topped. There's also a segment in this video which is probably what I should have showed you guys, but it's the point remains the same on the Bitcoin chart, which I'll look for it right now just for transparency, where I literally stated that Bitcoin here could have faced some resistance either towards a new all-time high or a little bit earlier, which is pretty much where we topped. So yeah, go and watch this video because it's still very much relevant, and you guys will understand why in this video. So with last week's projection, I stated from this point on, it's a good time to start to protect your positions if you were taking longs, because once we start to step in these levels here, there was a lot of resistance. Okay, it may not be what I showed you guys in that clip at the beginning, but trust me, go and watch the previous video. I literally stated that something like this was going to happen. But besides that, right, where do we stand right now? So we had that correction that I was expecting. I ended up showing you guys a bunch of trades, and I literally shared them with you guys on different platforms. And this is an invitation, if you haven't already, to go and follow my Twitter, because there's a lot of good stuff that I send in there. Okay, I'll show you guys. For example, on June 4th, I stated, many altcoins are in viable territory, but I'd like to see Bitcoin correct a bit first. I am exposed more than I have silent cash with positions from bear market lows on certain coins. If you want to get some exposure regardless, you can, but at this moment I am waiting. And I really stated that waiting was worth it. I also showed you guys the Ethereum trades. This is an edge position that I was taking after taking a short, which I'm going to show you guys right now. I ended up taking a bunch of trades that I pretty much talked about openly on X. I'll show you also, guys, the charts for it. Popcat, we ended up taking a short here from 40 cents and up TPing around 30, I think, or something like that. Ethereum, we pretty much shorted the top. The entry was 28.28. Ended up taking profits somewhere around 2.5, and I will explain why I ended up taking profits and closing my positions before my final TP. Spoiler, I still think that we can go lower. I also gave you guys a projection of what I potentially see happening on Bitcoin, and I will break down this theory in this video. So there, there's a lot of stuff that I've shared on my X, and also look at that. For example, this was literally me calling for a correction. The day that we saw Trump stumbling on stairs, I was literally reminded of Biden doing the same in the last cycle. This is what happened after Biden started falling from a stair. You may think, well, what does that have to do with price action? Once you start to pick up on these subtle ways that the whales communicate, then you will tell me if I am crazy for adding this stuff into my analysis. But I digress. Biden did this, fell from stairs that were going up, which is an important element to consider. Correction back down, new move to the upside. That didn't last as much. Bitcoin, well, Trump, right? We were trading at 108. I was expecting this low to be taken out. I'm not sure if this low has been taken out just yet. No, we started to correct, but I think that this low is going to be targeted very soon. I will show you guys why in the video today. And this is what I'll be expecting afterwards. So I am fine. Like, I do share a lot on my X, honestly, a lot. And there's a bunch of setups. You guys should be following me on Twitter if you haven't already. You should also be following me on Involio if you haven't already. I shared some of my trades, not all of them. If you guys want all of the trades, there is a VIP on Involio, which for clearance is the same as the Discord Premium. Okay, it's literally two platforms where I share the same stuff. Okay, so if you want to support us via Discord, you can. There's a link down below. Otherwise, you can follow me for free on Involio, or you can also get the VIP on Involio. Just make sure do not get both unless you want to support us, because it's pretty much the same exact content. Okay. But with that being said, I also share this stuff over here. I'm also currently in a long, and I'm on XRP long. If you guys want more details about that, you have to go my Involio, search for Alex Trades. There is an open in portfolio where you also find this trade here, and that's where you can follow that trade. I also talked about it openly on my Discord. There's a link down below once again with where we pretty much TP the trades that I was just talking about. This was the edge long on ETH and so on. Okay. So let's get into the charts now, and I also want to show you guys the weekly calendar for this week, economic wise. And we have some volatility coming into the market very, very soon, starting from Tuesday, but more importantly, we got the FOMC on Wednesday. Okay, so be on the lookout for that. There is some volatility to be expected. Let's see what the charts are showing us. So the only thing that I didn't add in last week's video, which I've added right now, is pretty much this breaker. Okay, there's a breaker here. I think it's on a lower time frame. I don't remember exactly where I found it, but anyway, it could be the 3-day. The reason why I added that, right, is because during the week, I wanted to see, because my idea here was that at some point, I think that I shared this with the premium guys, because I think that I showed you guys this in the last week video. But during the week, as this dump progressed, in order for me to validate the thesis that we were going to go lower to my targets that I mentioned in last week's video right away, I wanted to see us closing candles below this breaker and ideally below this level of resistance, of support that should have been turning into resistance then. I then wanted to see a pull back up into these areas to find resistance to validate the theory that we were going to go straight down. This was essentially me validating my bias at this as we were approaching the current lows, okay? Then once I saw that the candle bosses were respecting the breaker, I then said, okay, cool, there is a possibility here of going and pulling back higher, because we did get a bad news, which of course is linked to geopolitical tensions, for lack of a better word that is YouTube friendly, but I'm sure you guys know what I'm talking about. And you know, if that should have been what what was going to be taking us down right away, I really wanted to see more speed behind the move. Okay, and because I didn't see it, I was like, okay, cool. We may have a temporary, keyword temporary, bounce back up. Okay, so what I've done is, instead of you know, keeping my position and, you know, giving back some of the profits, maybe even just as an unrealized on paper, giving back, right? Because maybe I will have not closed my shorts or anything like that, right? I prefer to, you know, flip long for the time being, as I saw these levels over here holding as a support, and then turn bearish back where we pretty much found resistance, right? You know, every single time that we start to step into the 3.36 trillion area, if I were to plot a level, it will have to be something like this, right? Every time we started to step into this region here, I mean, look at that. This is where we started to face resistance, and I'll actually make this a bit wider. Okay, this is where we started to face resistance. So what I'm going to do, and I apologize for this kind of potentially be confusing, but okay, this way kind of stands out, right? Every single time, right, that we start to deal in these regions, we face resistance. So what I'm seeing happening here is still a mix of expectations that I've had from last week, where I stated that, you know, there was a chance, right, of going and tapping this trend lines here, overall this whole region of resistance around 3.5 trillion, and I'm still in the belief of something like that potentially happening. So I will have to keep this expectation here at play, but what I want to show you guys here is also the possibility, which I think is more likely, but I'm not gonna be cherry picking on neither of these two possibilities, because at the end of the day I'm gonna be taking trades that will still accommodate any of these two scenarios coming. I think that there's also the potential for something like this, where we do end up making a simple retrace to a level of resistance that hasn't been retested as an actual resistance like we've done over here. For example, here, and in order for you to understand what I'm talking about here, what I like to see every single time that we test a level of support or resistance is as follows. For example, here, right, with this candle here, with this candle closure, we broke above a level of previous resistance, right? What do you want to expect? What do we want to see, right? Afterwards, you want to see the level actually holding as a support upon a retrace, right? Which is what we have gotten over here, where you can see that the candles actually closed within the level of support, which then helped the price booster higher. However, here, what you can see in the highlighted level is that we are, for example, we had a bull trap. We then closed the candle below the level of resistance, and here, yes, here we had the retest of a resistance, which then led us back down to the level of support. However, here you cannot say the same, because here we retested it as a resistance after already retesting it as a resistance. So what I'm expecting to see here at the very least is the total one pulling back up to 3.36 trillion. From this point over here, what you should be doing, right, as a smart trader, is taking a little bit of profits off. Okay, I'm actually going to be adding an alert here, and I'll say TP some profits. Okay, assuming of course that you have taken either spot positions or leverage positions down there. Okay, or maybe if you even kept some trades open from this area here, this is where you should be taking at least some profits, right? I've said it before last week. I gave you where you should have taken some profits. Okay, granted it did go a little bit higher, but you know, you should have completed the trade. Because I told you also that there was a chance of going a little bit higher. So that's exactly what has ended up happening, even though we didn't strike 3.5 trillion, okay? But either way, the scenario here is as follows. If I were to overlap it, this is kind of what I'm expecting to see. A situation where we either top over here at 3.36 trillion, or we go for a squeeze to the upside to around 3.5 trillion, right? And then we reverse back down, okay? So regardless of how you want to see it, I am telling you that, in my opinion, not financial advice, I believe that the market has not done dropping. Okay, it's usually you know, it's not because you know, that happened last week, the geopolitical tension and the event that happened afterwards, right? It's not because that happened and now we are in the clear. I've seen a lot of people on social media say buy the invasion or buy the war fund, because every single other time that we have seen that sort of a news, it has been recovered. I'm not saying that we cannot recover eventually. I'm saying that I don't think that is going to happen right now. Because a lot of people, you see, the thing is that when you see a lot of people agreeing on something specific, you kind of gotta ask yourself, is this what the market makers want us to believe? Right? I think that what we are seeing is the illusion of a recovery that could potentially lead us towards the FOMC. From the FOMC, maybe we start to reverse from there, or maybe it happens afterwards. I don't know. It doesn't matter, because I'm following price action rather than events, okay? So I'm seeing the potential here for another lower high structure, because there is also bearish Fibonacci that has now been created, which is this one over here. And you can see that all these levels line up pretty much in the same exact area of resistance. So this is a very big key area for me. This is where you should be taking some profits off, because the possibility of rolling back down, regardless of the fact of potentially squeezing a little bit higher, this is what's at play at this moment in time. Okay, so total 2, again, I haven't changed these charts because overall, right, my expectation is the same. The only difference here is that because we have held this area over here, and there is across the board, right, the idea of this inverse head and shoulder pattern, that I then turned bullish for a retrace, in my opinion, to the level of resistance, which is this one over here. So just like the total 1, I think that what we are seeing over here is a potential retrace that lines up perfectly with a 6.8% of this new Fibonacci. Call it a coincidence. And I'm actually going to be adding another alert here. Yeah, this is good enough. TP some profits. Okay. Because overall here we didn't even retest the breaker. The total 2, you know, the total 1, right, is the one that found the breaker within this region here. Okay, it had a bounce because there was a breaker. Total 2 potentially has a similar situation here, but probably not the strongest, right? Maybe if I go on a lower time frame, such as this one, I could find something. Right now I'm not really seeing as much. You know, if you dig deep down, I'm sure that I could find the reason why this has bounced, okay? But it's not the best optimal area. So what this is telling me is that there is lower to go. There is lower to go in the total 2. So I think that these altcoins have lower to go. Let's go to the total 3. You can see that we didn't even retest this region over here at this moment in time. It's a very similar situation that we are seeing across the board. Levels of resistance, just like the total 2. I think I forgot to mention this. Well, probably I didn't. And bull trap here broke this level of resistance without a retest. So maybe this is all that we are doing. Total 3 could actually become weaker because this, in this situation, you can see that we were playing with this level of resistance, broke down, retested it. So there is a chance, right, that if I plot the Fibonacci, you guys will understand what I mean, that maybe we don't even touch this level of resistance, so we actually stop somewhere around here. Okay, for the lack of of time and not trying to make this video super long, I would say that there is a chance that here we could find some resistance in between these two levels here. I think that this is where we could potentially top here, and I will be looking at the total 1 and total 2 for more correlations. Okay, but if I were to call a specific level of where I personally think that we're going to be topping upon a retrace, it's going to be this one over here, 874 billion, in my opinion. Orders chart. Okay, this little bit better, but the thing is that the more time we spend at these levels of key interest, the weaker the bounce becomes and the higher the likelihood of us breaking down lower. Okay, so I said that I want to see us going lower into this gray area. I think that upon the next bounce we should be doing just that, so be really careful. Now let's talk about Bitcoin here, because Bitcoin, you know, if you followed along, right, and I gave you guys this trend lines all for a reason, which I think should probably be over here. This is because I've done analysis on a different time frame, but point is here, you saw this trend line holding as a support upon this retest of this wick, right? What do you see? We have this level of support, now we're getting a bounce. Aren't we seeing, right, an inverse head and shoulders formation here as well? Do you just understand now why I flipped bullish at that moment? Okay, there is also an overall bearish trend line here, which could potentially lead us down in this manner, where we do see a retrace to the previous levels. And I will give you guys the levels that I personally think that we're going to be retesting with Bitcoin that could potentially lead us down afterwards. And this is also another Bitcoin chart. I will show you guys the levels in just a second. But overall, you can see that we have hit this level over here as a support. We had this level here. We also had the trend lines. Overall, there was the support over here to fulfill this idea. So what I'm expecting to see here is a very similar situation to what I showed you guys on the total one, where we should either be stopping around 108, 109, or we go for a new all-time high. Okay, so this is still at play. Something like this could potentially happen, somewhere around 113, 114, in my opinion. But overall, right, regardless of how high we go here, I think that the downside is the main threat, because afterwards, right, and I don't know, I think that I spoke about it on MEXC, which right now I closed the tab for, so I'm not going to be reopening it. But I stated that, you know, if we lose $100,000, in my opinion, we are heading back down to around 95. Okay? If you lose 95, now 82.6K, I think I said, is going to be coming quicker than most can imagine. Okay, but overall, this distribution right here, what it's doing is preparing liquidity to flow into the lower caps, okay, the altcoins. Okay, so if you know how to play it, right, or if you don't have the guidance, the right guidance, or if you want more information about that, this is your invitation to join us in the premium. Join us in the Discord, because this is where you can see my portfolio. You can see where I'm entering, the price levels and all of that, all my expectations exposed. That's where you get all of that, okay? Because here on YouTube, I'm telling you what I'm thinking, I'm telling you the levels, but I'm not showing you guys the altcoins chart, okay? Because I have to respect, of course, the premium members, which are paid members. It's not that much, guys, per month, okay? And it's an investment overall in your education, and maybe even getting some better entries, but that's completely up to you, okay? So I'm overall expecting, because we have this area over here as a support, that we should be retesting for the same reasons as before, of you know, broken levels of resistance, right, that have yet to be retested. I'm expecting 109, 108. I'll show you guys why those levels in the next charts for Bitcoin. But overall, I'm expecting a pullback up this week. how we go, it's kind of out of the question here. It doesn't really matter in my opinion, because it's going to be a short-term bounce, a bounce that in my opinion is going to be turning people bullish again, create more liquidity before we head back down. Because the way that you should be seeing it, okay, I'll give you guys an extra. I'll give you guys something to chew on. Let me actually get a clean chart, which, okay, this one should be good. Let's go on the weekly chart for a second here. What I want to show you guys is a discussion about liquidity. Okay, so where is the liquidity to the downside? It's below an important low. Below this low we have liquidity, below this low we have liquidity, and so on, right? Below this low we have liquidity. Would you say, right, that with this correction here, right, which, what was it? You know, we didn't even tap that much. I mean, sure, I mean, there was liquidity that was taken below this low, but do you think, right, and this is why I don't like following many people on social media. I like to do my own thing, and you should be doing your own thing, because if you get like the thing that as a newbie, right, and I'm sorry for making this video super long, but as a newbie, right, you tend to think that people that have a lot of followers, or the more accounts I follow, the better the gauge that I get in terms of sentiment, and then I know what to do. Bullshit. Scrap that out of your mind. The more people you follow, the more complexity you're adding to your trading or your investing, because you are not just following one strategy, you're following plenty of strategy. And you know, I've seen this across the board on every single social media where I can find people that are into trading or crypto. People follow too many people, and they get bombarded with expectations or predictions and all of that, and they simply don't know. They're hoping for the best, and maybe when it's time to sell, they will say, oh no, this person here is expecting me is expecting the market to go higher, and therefore, because I want to take as much out as possible from the market, I'm gonna be holding. Maybe that's where you should have been selling. You know, there's so many things that could potentially happen here. Okay, so what people are expecting to see, right, the bullish people, what they are expecting to see, most of them, is this. Oh, because we have the retrace here and we have now made a new all-time high, we are off to the races. 200k is now coming. When they forget that $100,000 is the closest thing that we have as a psychological level that is pretty much of the same weight of something as $1 million per Bitcoin. And what I mean by that is that $100,000, guys, is what people have been having engraved in their head since the beginning of cycles, pretty much. Okay, I'm not saying 2012, 2013 and all that stuff, but I think that from 2017 onwards, people started to talk about 100k, right? There was heavy talks about 100k in the last cycle, right? And we are right now in probably what's the biggest resistance for Bitcoin for the time being and for the foreseeable future. Okay, people underestimate how much resistance there is at 100k, and people think that because we have made a slight new all-time high, that from the previous all-time high, what is it, like 2.39% above the previous all-time high as a wick fish, people start to think that we can now go much higher. After doing what exactly? After taking out only this bit of liquidity that was present below this low? Like, I don't know, people underestimate how much, right? How much resistance we have over here. This rectangle here that I've just added represents the liquidity that we have grabbed, right, below this low here. Do you think that this area over here of liquidity, right, considering that the cycle began from this level over here, do you think that this bit of liquidity is enough for you to see a 2x on Bitcoin from 74k? And 2x, guys, it's here, $149,000. Do you think that this is enough to create this? Do you need to understand that whales, right, is what are creating this price action here, this choppiness, and it's because, well, what they're doing is offloading, and they're offloading to people that are willing to buy at these prices here. And they cannot offload in one go because the market, well, they may have a big position and they need a lot of liquidity to flow in. And in order for you to get that situation coming to fruition, you need to push price higher because dumb money, retail, wants to see price going higher as a validation of a bullish trend being played, right? So in my opinion, right, what I'm trying to tell you here is this. You have just wiped this low, you have just wiped this high. You're currently trading below the previous all-time high, right? And that level over there basically puts you at below 109.3. I previously spoke about 108, 109 being the highest I see Bitcoin going potentially, even though there is a potential for a slight new all-time high. Okay, but regardless of that, I think that the next level of real accumulation is going to happen in between $74,000 to $49,000. From there onwards, could this be the sort of a significant uptrend for Bitcoin? Maybe. I won't even be counting too much on it, but maybe this is what we need to see. Okay, because that allows the market to get a lot of liquidity, which, just to put into representation, it's not going to be just this box over here in the way that I place it. It's going to be everything that is below the current price action that is going to be used as a liquidity. And this is enough fuel, in my opinion. All this area over here to the downside is enough fuel to potentially go and make a decent move to the upside once again. Okay, there is also the chance, right, that we end up seeing something like this, where we grab all this liquidity, get a short-term bounce. Short-term could be the wrong word here, but we could get a bounce, a lower high, before we flush down into more liquidity and we prepare for the next cycle. So you understand the overall danger in which we're in. If anyone tells you that you are early into buying anything, whether it's going to be altcoins, whether it's going to be crypto in general, they stop following them because they don't know anything about the market. Okay, so you are pretty much in a situation where you're very close to potentially topping if you haven't done that already, right? And the market can significantly slap back down very, very quickly. And we now have a reason, right? World War III could be the reason, right? The further escalation, maybe the US starts to step in, right? I'm not saying that there cannot be money to be made in this market still. I think there is opportunities. And if you know how to capitalize on them, you can definitely make a decent chunk of it. But be careful. Be very careful. Okay? So this is just my warning sign. Let's go to the Bitcoin dominance. We're still playing in this level over here that we talked about for quite some time here. So again, 50-50 expectations here, to be completely honest, because if we were to do what I think that we are going to do, right, and move back up slightly, and I talked about it on my X as well, which I've actually I have to open just for transparency. And this is what I stated 4 days ago on Twitter. The next leg to the upside, in my opinion, will be sustained by a move by Ethereum, but the tension may shift to altcoins. But be careful. If you know, you know. Let me see. So I don't want to open the altcoins watch list, but I think that you guys can see what I was talking about. Bitcoin today is up less than 1%. Ethereum is up 2.60%. And just to put it as a comparison, right? I'm watching CoinMarketCap from my phone, and XRP, for example, today is up 3.94%. We are in a long in that, so that is good. ICP up 4.54%. Filecoin 4.78%. And so on. You guys get the point. RSR up 7.89%. So do you guys understand what I was talking about there? And there's obviously a lot more coins that are performing better than Ethereum and Bitcoin right now. So this is what I was talking about with this statement. But be careful, because as I showed you guys before, so far into the video, there is quite the alarming signs that are about to be ringing, because I think that there could be a situation where altcoins recover decently, but in preparation of going lower, to be honest with you. Ethereum, you can see that we are now pulling back up, but to retest an important level of resistance. You know, I pretty much shorted from this level over here, pretty much where the crosshair is at. If I do see another push to the upside, I will probably short once again. Because overall I'm expecting a significant retrace back down. We are already in heavy resistance, so I think that it's going to be a slow grind up for Ethereum, giving a little bit more room to this altcoins, which in my opinion could be the explanation as to why Bitcoin dominance could potentially see a little bit of a rollover soon. Not as much as you may think. 62% to 61.5 in my opinion at best. Could we potentially even go as low as 60? Maybe, sure. But understand that my overall expectation here is for this to keep on pushing higher at least one more time, okay? So be careful. Ethereum versus Bitcoin. So this is kind of what I wanted to see. Make or break level for me in the current region is this region here. We are still yet to make a pattern, to be honest, so not much has changed unless you want to consider this double bottom, which you could, okay? You could do that. But we will see. Maybe it will still be valid, but I will still be expecting this to go lower. Total 3. And by the way, yes, I will break down the orders, well, the ratio total market cap excluding top 10 to BTC. This will be done soon. And I will also be breaking down the ratio total market cap excluding Bitcoin, Ethereum, and stablecoins to BTC. Okay, so that will be done in the future. But overall, this chart here, I said that the 2-week was the most important time frame for me. We have now a new 2-week candle. You can see the previous candle closed above this important trend line. So this is why I'm excited to see a push to the upside for the total 3, for the altcoins. I think that this is likely to what's going to happen, but understand that the overall expectations here for me is that we are going to go lower afterwards. If you guys want to understand this chart, the way that I broke it down, and pretty much me doing it from scratch, all you have to do is go on the Profits Manager channel and watch that video once again, or watch it if you haven't already.
Hey guys.
I'll show you guys the video. Hidden Krypton Charts #1. Great video, in my opinion. You should be watching it because I teach you technical analysis in it as well. So watch that if you haven't already. So let's go for a wrap up very soon here. Total 1 on this other chart. And I'll get into the Bitcoin chart that I was talking about throughout the video, okay? Make sure to leave a like if you haven't already. Leave a comment and subscribe. Total 1. Hit this level of a very short block. I think that we are going to be seeing, like I said before, returns back into this level at best. Total 2, you're still expecting to see somewhat of a bounce up into this level. Anything higher is truly a bonus at this moment, and I think that we're still going to be going lower. Not much like this in terms of upside expectation. This was a projection. I want to say this level over here flip as a support. If you flip as a support, there is opportunity for going higher. But right now, this is not what I'm expecting to see. But you know, I'm hoping, you know, if something like this happens, okay, I know how to act on it. Okay, that's pretty much it, the overall thing that I'm looking for there. Solana, you can see that we still haven't hit the breaker. Another indication of altcoins need to go lower soon. Bitcoin. So this is the level that I was talking about throughout this video here. So I've identified a region where I'm expecting to see resistance, which is this area that we have already seen as a resistance before, so it doesn't come as a surprise. And specifically on the Kraken chart between 108.7 to 109.6. This is a great area, in my opinion, to start looking for a potential short. If you want to be super precise with it, and I will actually add another for this myself. Where is it? Previous cycle, sorry, previous all-time high is this one over here. So I will be looking for a short from this level. Give me a second. Entry price 109.1 on Kraken. This of course varies depending on your own chart. So this is kind of when I start testing a potential short. You could play it high risk. and go for something like this, high risk, high reward. Or you could play a little bit safer, place it above 114 or 115, but you're kind of gonna have to make it worthwhile. Maybe you should be, it's up to you, but this is kind of what I'm looking for here. Looking to kind of create this sort of a trade soon. BTC short number 1. Something like this is what I'd be expecting to see. With a target down to around 96, 95. Definitely a great risk, high reward. Don't go too crazy, but this is the level of resistance that I'd be expecting to see. USDT dominance chart here gave you the level of a bounce. Told you that this is where we were gonna bounce. We're starting to push back up. We then created another bearish Fibonacci in these levels. So I think that if we reverse the Fibonacci here, yeah, I can see that we are already in equilibrium. Anything else here is a bonus. I think that there is a chance of boosting higher. Looking for 510. I know you're still in market bottom, but this is not necessarily what has to be the market bottom, just for transparency. I think that there could be higher prices. Well, higher levels for the Bitcoin the Ethereum, oh my god, USDT dominance. Guys, with that being said, hopefully you guys enjoyed today's video. If you have, again, like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.